Yeah, James Shields' time on the market was very interesting. He gets a good deal, 4 years at about $18.5 million per year. The question is he big game James or not? Let's put James Shields into the shredder. James Shields is going into his age 33 season. He has been one of the game's steadiest pitchers. He has thrown either 33 or 34 starts in each of the last 7 seasons. That's going way back, and that's extremely valuable. So let's go through the last 3 years. At over 227 innings per season, he is #1 in innings pitched overall, just ahead of R.A. Dickey and King Felix Hernandez. By the way, if you went back to 2007, Shields would still be #1 in innings pitched, ahead of Felix and Justin Verlander. Shields has been a workhorse. So is durable? Yeah, he's durable, the most durable pitcher in the sport. But where is he in terms of run prevention and what he is most responsible for, his fielding independent pitching, the strikeouts, walks, and home runs? It turns out, for all the talk of him not being big game James in the postseason and not a #1, I don't know. He might still be an ace. There are 30 teams in the major leagues, and last year he was 22nd in ERA+, that's park adjusted, and tied for 40th in fielding independent pitching, your FIP. Again, 30 teams, if you're in that top 30, you're an ace. You're ace level. His RA9 WAR, which puts together a pitcher's innings and runs allowed, the RA is just runs allowed per 9. He was 24th overall. So, yes, as of last year, he was still in that ace category. Some other things now. He has not had postseason success. Last year, he had an ERA over 6 in his 5 starts in that great Royals postseason run. And over his career, he has a 5.46 ERA in the playoffs. That could be concerning, and it likely did hurt his marketability. But as far as being big game, well, it depends on how you look at it. In the regular season last year, in his last 16 starts, that's a good run, with the Royals playing for the playoffs week after week, he had a 2.45 ERA. It's 110-plus innings, 88 strikeouts, 18 walks. That's a big game stretch run pitcher. So I wouldn't worry about Shields coming through, so to speak, in big spots. But all right, here's a concern with his skill. His ability to miss bats is trending down. Now, it's normal. If your velocity drops, strikeouts drop. Shields has gone from a strikeout rate of over 23% to 21% to 19%. He's also managed to lower his walk rate, a big drop last year. But his velocity, at least on his two-seam fastball, has not gone down. Right? It's still over 92 miles per hour. See, 92.5. That's about league average. But if you succeed at that rate, all you look for is the player to maintain it. And Shields has been able to do that. So I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, you just run the numbers. He's still top 30. Even last year at that advanced age 32, he's still in the top 25. Sounds like an ace to me, Joel. What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of movies get made, but it doesn't mean there's a movie star in every one of them. And just because there's 30 teams, I don't think there's 30 aces. And I don't think James Shields is an ace. I think he's whatever that next level is. And you're lucky to have him. High-end, innings-eating guy. But I think you hit on some things that would worry me. Strikeout levels coming down. Yeah. The fielding independent numbers. 2 years with Kansas City, his ERA was 3.18. It was the independent numbers were 0.4 of a run higher. And anyone who watched the playoffs last year walked away saying, eyeballs or stats, the Royals had as good an outfield defense as you can have.
Oh, yeah.
He might be going to the complete opposite this year. He had as good a catcher as you can have last year in Salvi Perez. He might be going to the complete opposite this year. So those kind of little things, as he gets older, and he might need his teammates more, is he going to get his teammates less?
It's almost like I can explain his postseason. When I watch him pitch in the postseason, you mentioned his last 16 starts, 110 innings. He was almost unhittable. Yeah. All right, great ERA. He gets in the postseason, he gets extra days rest. He's not big game where he's going every 5th day, grinding it out, pitching sometimes not 100%, but with his mind and getting the job done. I think with the extra, when I watched him, and I did a lot of his postseason games, his control was off. He was throwing 94, 95 miles an hour, which is great on the gun, looks great on TV, but he's a control guy, always has been a control guy. So I think that's where sometimes in the postseason, he's throwing maybe a little too hard and not where he usually throws.
Yeah, and I would agree with Joel, too, that I don't think he's a quote-unquote ace, but I think that's okay. I think from a Padres standpoint, they viewed him as a need in the clubhouse, a need on the front of their rotation, and it's okay that he's not a quote-unquote ace. He's not Clayton Kershaw. He's not somebody like that. He's not Madison Bumgarner. but he's still pretty darn good.
Yeah, I'm top 25.
Absolutely.
You know what's funny is I rarely, like when he was, this guy, you mentioned the clubhouse because he gets a tremendous amount of credit about being good around his teammates, which is terrific. But when you hear enough of that, it's like, all right, how much does that really matter? But now when he had the bad postseason, I heard how bad he was. I'm like, all right, hold on a second. Now I got to go back the other way. You're zigging, I'm zagging. I know that's my MO, but that's what I'm doing.
But I would actually, especially in this situation, give him some clubhouse points for this reason. His last 7 years, every one of them, his team has been above 500. It's averaged 91 wins. Those are all what we would consider small market teams, right? Tampa Bay or Kansas City that grew in expectation. He's going to the same exact kind of team now, a relatively small market team that's large in expectation. He's been through this. It's something where mentoring, I think, does matter and being able to share with a team.
It's a good bonus, right? If that guy shows a great work ethic, Ron, you've been through it, it's good to have.
When you dug in there in the shredder, one of the things you said is 33 or more starts 7 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
What that represents, even take him out of the clubhouse, what that represents to the other 4 guys that are pitching is that you're not going to be 100% for 33 of those starts every single season. But he grinds it out. And he figures that he has enough confidence in himself that whatever I have that day, I'm going to help us win. That really goes a long way with the other pitchers on the staff.
The other thing that I was looking at the other day about him, he's changed a little bit of the way he's pitching. You talked about velocity, Bri. You know, more cutters than changeups. Is that a big deal, Ron? I mean, is that anything that you have to look at and be concerned about?
What happens a lot of times for pitchers, if you end up spending more time on the outside of the ball, the cutter, sometimes you lose the inside of the ball, the changeup. So I would not lose that changeup if he adds the cutter.